We're Brian and Crystal, and this is Vanhalla Adventures. For almost a year, we've been traveling in our Dodge ProMaster van around the USA. We've stayed everywhere from the mountains to the ocean, to the desert, and everywhere in between. Our business relies heavily on accessing internet, so today we're going to be sharing how we have been able to stay on grid and get our work done while still seeing these beautiful areas. What's up, beautiful people?
This week on the vlog, we'll be discussing how to get Wi-Fi on the road. If you're like us and are nomadic and make money while you're on the road, you rely on Wi-Fi.
Most of the time, unless you have like a seasonal job or something like that. But I know a lot of you have asked, we've been talking back and forth with all of you in DMs, YouTube, everything like that. And you've been concerned, those of you that already have jobs, you want to start RV life, van life, school life, or something like that where you can travel full time, but you're worried because how are you going to be on your Zoom calls? Is the service actually going to be reliable enough so you don't get in trouble, possibly even fired, or you have your own business and you want to make sure that you're showing up for your business, your clients, whoever it is, and be reliable towards them. So we're going to give all that to you because our business relies on Wi-Fi. My business especially, I was doing a lot of stuff with Zoom, not so much anymore, but I went through all of that when we started van life. So we want to help you all out so you can feel secure and really able to live this lifestyle without having a panic attack, basically. Yeah. So be sure to stay tuned for the end of the video because we're going to give the exact tools and tips so you know how to route your travels so you can be sure that you're going to be able to make your Zoom calls, be able to show up for your meetings, or just be able to get on the internet whenever you want. So be sure to stay tuned for that. But first up is first way we get Wi-Fi. So way number 1.
First way is an obvious choice, but it's coffee shops, restaurants, and cafes. It's good to support local businesses to go into a coffee shop. Wi-Fi is usually good, but it's not usually a private place for like if you need to do phone calls or Zoom calls or something private, but it is good for admin work and uploading videos if you're a YouTuber.
Yeah, it's one of the ways like we really prefer. We love going to coffee shops and cafes and things like that. That's not always going to be around, so you really have to have other options other than that. And there's a couple times we've gone to coffee shops, cafes, and they're like, we have great Wi-Fi. You show up there, it's not so great. But the one thing I will say is sometimes when you're using some of the other options we're going to talk about, you're going to use up all your data, so you're going to need to go to coffee shops if you're uploading stuff. If something's going to take a lot of data.
Yeah, and a lot of campgrounds and KOA and stuff say they have Wi-Fi, but the Wi-Fi is
terrible.
Pretty terrible. It's good for maybe an email or something, but if you're doing like heavier work, like, Zoom calls or uploading videos, that ain't gonna work. Yeah,
KOA, campgrounds, things like that, those are a hard no, unless you're actually going into like KOAs. I think sometimes they have that little like sitting area room, but even then it's not usually that good. I think one time we've had a good one.
Yeah.
Anyways, so there's number 1. And number 2 on our list for how we get Wi-Fi on the road is personal hotspots that are separate from your cell phone service carrier hotspot. So what I mean by these is something like this. So these are just separate little tiny boxes that you can get from T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, different cell phone carriers. And so this can be a totally separate plan than your cell phone service. So we have AT&T, but we have a hotspot. That's Verizon. We've already tried T-Mobile too. So they're going to be 2 separate bills, or it can go on your bill if you're going to use the same service provider. You can purchase them outright, or they can go on a plan, and then you pay monthly, and you can be on a contract basis, or you can pay per month and not have a contract. So you'd be on a prepaid plan. So we signed up for NOMAD Internet and got a T-Mobile hotspot. So NOMAD Internet, you would think it would be great, but for us, it was absolutely awful. We used the T-Mobile thing like for a couple of days and it didn't work very well. So we sent it back. You can get your money back. So after a certain period of time, I think you can try it for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
After the hotspot ships, and all you do is pay up front for the service to be connected, and I think it was like $179, and then you pay per month, which is like another $129. So it's pretty expensive comparatively to what else we're going to show you. Yeah. And we didn't like it very much, but you can get your money back. So just putting that out there if you want to try it. So the personal hotspot that we have here is a Verizon Jetpack. So we've had this just for about I don't know, 8-9 months or so, because we were just using our personal hotspots during the whole COVID situation. We couldn't go to cafes, and so we decided to get a hotspot. We heard this one was pretty good. And so it costed, let's see, the investment was about like $200 for the device itself, and then every month it was like about $80, $90. I got it because we only got 30 gigs at each of our cell phone hotspots, and that wasn't enough. I was doing Zoom calls about 3 days a week for several hours each day, so it ate up all my gigs. And I noticed that I need about 60 to 70 gigs when I was working like that, and also just being on the internet every single day, about 4 or 5 days a week, pretty much for 8-hour days. So with that, I was using up all my gigs, and this little bad boy did save me a ton. It literally saved my little booty so that I could get onto client calls, and so it didn't ruin my business. So this was a lifesaver. However, it is not our first choice, which is going to be number 3, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. One thing I didn't like about this, I don't think this gets that good of service. Like, it's not fast. This has not been fast. The only time it has been fast is when we've been in a major city, or we're directly right next to a Verizon like tower.
2 places we don't never really want to be.
Yeah, 2 places that we don't really want to be, but it has saved my butt when I was out of data and I knew it was going to be in big cities. So this is our backup. We still keep it. Because I am on a prepaid plan, what we can do is, let's say we're going to be somewhere and we know Verizon service is a lot better than our AT&T carrier, is that I'll go ahead, log in, and I'll pay for a month, and then we'll have it for that month. So we keep it as our backup just in case Verizon does have better service in that area. So I think it's worthy of checking out. Another one we want to mention, we don't use, but we've heard amazing things about, is the AT&T Nighthawk.
Yeah.
Nighthawk. We've heard great things about the AT&T Nighthawk. It's a little bit more expensive than this in terms of purchasing the device, but per month, all of these will generally run you about $100 per month, anywhere from 15 to 30 gigs per month, and they're going to max out there. You're not going to get unlimited till we talk about our option number 3. So if we were going to go and get another one of these, which we don't really need now, I would get the AT&T Nighthawk.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the one I would get. I would put the money towards it, especially if you're like, I could lose my job if I don't have good service. That's what we would get. So these are pretty, they definitely work. We're going to keep it around, and we'll let you know all in the future if we're like, dude, Verizon did awesome. Probably put on like Instagram stories or something. We'll be like, Verizon is awesome in this area. We'll keep you in the loop on all that.
Number 3 is a double whammy, and that is our personal cell phones.
Boop, boop. This is our favorite one.
Yeah, we get a hotspot on here for about 15, 30 gigs, just like other personal hotspots, but this is our phone. But we have a little secret for you. If you're a business owner, a freelancer, or if you have a 1099, or there's a way to sign up for a business account, for AT&T at least, and you get 100 gigs per hotspot.
Per cell phone. 100 gigs per cell phone.
Yeah, 100 gigs per phone on a business account, which is huge. That's 70 gigs more than your hotspot or your phone that you'll ever get allowed to get.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
It's amazing. So we have 200 gigs between us for each cell phone.
But you also have a third phone, an older phone.
Yeah.
We signed that up and add that to our family plan. So now we have 300 gigs of hotspots plus unlimited data. So
for each cell phone, which is absolutely amazing. Yeah, and I just use an old iPhone.
We use internet and Wi-Fi heavily. We haven't even come close to...
We've never even used the third
We never even used the third phone, so we've come close to about 200 gigs, but we had never had to come to use the third phone. So.
And we stream Netflix
constantly.
We're like watching stuff all the time, other YouTubers, everything like that. So this is an amazing option. We use AT&T. I don't know if this is available with every single other service provider, but it's amazing because it also saves a lot of money comparatively. So the Verizon, which we were just talking about, is $100 just about per month, plus the amount of the device. This only raised our bill for all 3 devices for 300 gigs, $30 per month.
Yeah.
That's $10 per cell phone a month for 100 gigs and unlimited data. And this video is not sponsored, nor did we get money by AT&T or any of these things. So I want to be very clear on that.
This is our best option.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah, so if you're a YouTuber, anything like that, like I would even think it's like worthy of starting a business for that.
Another thing, they didn't even really ask for proof of the business. No, what is it?
A federal ID number,
Federal
anything
ID
like this.
number.
I mean, we obviously are a business, but,
Yeah, but-
I'm not saying to do anything.
Right. I'm just saying.
I don't know, not illegal. Don't scam people, but just saying, like, it might even be worth having a business with the amount of money you're going to save, because we save so much money. And I will say these hotspots from your cell phone are so much faster, we have found, than any of the other personal hotspots that are separate from your cell phone.
Crazy.
And with AT&T, we've gotten service in like so many different places, with the exception of a couple different places, Montana, Wyoming, really out in the middle of nowhere, where the Verizon did come in handy.
We should also mention that we have the Wi-Fi booster, which is huge help.
Yeah, so if you are a digital nomad, you need to get a Wi-Fi booster. You absolutely need it.
Definitely.
It's not going to help you if you have zero cell phone service already. It's not going to boost anything from that. What it is going to do is if you have 1 bar, it's going to boost it to like 2 or 3. If you have 2 bars, it's going to boost it to like 4.
Yeah.
You need that in your van, and you can turn it off if you're like worried about having more technology on during the day. You can just easily unplug it like at night and things like that, but it is an absolute must have. And we'll leave a link below to purchase it. You need it if you're a digital nomad in a van. Hands down. So check out our link in description. It's amazing. Again, we're not like sponsored by them or anything. It's just like literally an incredible thing that's absolutely necessary.
Yeah. So now I'm going to go over some routing tips.
This is an absolute must. You really have to think about your routing as a digital nomad. Routing is one of the number one things we do. It takes a little bit more time.
Yeah, plan ahead.
Plan ahead is everything if your business relies on Wi-Fi and cell phone service.
Yeah. If you haven't done so already, check out our parking video. It was one of our first videos we made.
Yeah.
That goes over parking apps that we use and how we go about finding good parking.
You're going to need these apps because this is what we're going to be talking about. But instead of going over everything that we already have in a video, watch that video next. It is the link is in our description below.
Yeah. Or you can click this card right here.
Yeah. So to begin with, when we route our travels, we figure out first where we want to go. Let's say we're like, ooh, we're going to go to this super cool area in the middle of, I don't know, Joshua Tree, California or something like that. And then what we do is open up our parking apps and we look at all the different comments made by other van lifers or nomads and things like that. And they'll often say how cell phone coverage was there. If the coverage is awesome, then we're like, sweet, like we'll just pick up our groceries. We're going to have our cell phone spot and we can park up for a few days.
Spend the day and work.
Yeah, and be in this beautiful, awesome area and just chill out, kind of like we are right now. So after we looked at people's comments and if we're like, cool, we can go out there, we're going to be able to chill, that's awesome. However, if it's like cell phone service is sketchy, there's no cell phone service, things like that, then what we do is try to find the nearest town or city that's closest to where we want to go. Then what we'll do is we'll actually call cafes and coffee shops in the area. We'll ask if they have Wi-Fi. And the second question we ask is, how good is the Wi-Fi? And often they're pretty chill. They'll be like, oh my gosh, it's like super fast upload speed. And then after that, we'll also ask, how is cell phone coverage in the area? Like we're coming into town. We just want to kind of get an idea. Are we going to be able to, call people, do stuff on the computer? They'll tell you.
Yeah, because sometimes the Wi-Fi is not actually good, even though they say it is. At least you can back up with use your cell phone if the cell phone's good. So if they're like, the cell phone's not really good here, then we're kind of like, oh, we kind of got to make a decision if we're going to go there or not.
And then we'll just then park somewhere off grid, so we can be off grid at least at night after a certain time period, and then come into the city or town or wherever we're at. So we do some research, and if you're going to do this, just be sure not to call during the busiest times. Like if you're going to call like during lunch hour at like a cafe, like that's not the best time to call. So usually we call like first thing in the morning or after like a rush time, just to kind of depending. So definitely do this. You need to think really ahead if you're going to be doing your routing. Generally national forests, state parks, things like that, we found to never really have cell phone service. We never rely on that whatsoever. Best bet is also to get in different groups with other van lifers, RVers, schoolie life, and you can say, hey, we're going to be kind of in this area. How was cell phone service for you guys? Like, did you find any Wi-Fi? Like if you look on the parking apps and it's like somewhere like nobody has mentioned anything, that's another option. So it's really important to like connect with other people, see what other people are up to, how it's working.
Yeah.
I think this pretty much wraps all of it up. I think we got all those tips. But curious if we missed anything. If you have any other tips for anybody, be sure to leave them in the comments, because people do go through the comments. We might have left out something that's a super great option that you've been using. So drop those comments below and let us know what, if you need any other tips for life on the road, whether it be about digital nomad stuff or anything else. We'd love to help you guys.
If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe. It helps us keep our channel going.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
See ya.